Meredith. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the March on Track School podcast. We have a special guest for you to share with you today. Her name is Ashlee Harris, and Ashlee um, has a wonderful background in her company, which is called Shred MX. I'm pronouncing that correctly, right, Ashlee?
Yes.
And it's Ashlee Harris. And Ashlee actually saw us at an event and introduced herself and wanted to share her program. And we love that because the main reason why we have these podcasts and we bring our online community together is so that we can share inspiring stories, we can talk about overcoming adversity, and we can talk about any information to make you stronger, better, because we believe that learning is a lifelong um, process. And so it's super exciting to have you here, Ashlee. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, about Shred MX. Give us your background.
Yeah. So to start, I think the most important piece is to say that I'm a racer myself. I've been racing since I was 5 years old. My dad actually, I have a sister. It's me and my sister. My parents got divorced when I was very young, and he had two little girls and like dirt bikes. So he got both my sister and I into racing dirt bikes, and that was our family time spent on the weekends with him at the dirt bike track. And man, I wouldn't replace that with anything that growing up. I was never very serious about racing when I was younger. We just did it on the weekends. That's when we saw my dad and did the local scene in Ohio. I'm born and raised in Ohio. Don't live there anymore currently, but born there. So a lot of fun with it growing up and just really good lessons learned. So fast forward, I've continued racing and riding throughout I'm 31 now. So throughout all those years, over 25 years in the sport. And then around probably when I was 25, 26, kind of got interested in my own fitness and nutrition journey, knowing that, I'm getting older now. I want to be able to continue riding my dirt bike for as long as I can. It's something just I simply enjoy. There's nothing that will replace that feeling. And I knew that if I didn't take care of my body, eventually it was not going to allow me to continue to ride. So started kind of researching, doing my own fitness and nutrition thing, and eventually got to the point that people were asking me, "Oh, what are you doing? And can you help me?" Which turned into building the business, Shred Max Conditioning, where we help riders with their fitness and nutrition tailored to riding. Now, and that doesn't mean that we only work with riders and racers who are serious about their racing. It's more just anyone who has an interest and a love for dirt bikes that wants to be able to keep riding. But that started in 2023 when I really started building the business and pushing that as a business. So been riding and racing the entire time since. We have a big presence in the Ohio local scene. Currently, I'm in Florida. We live in our camper now. We recently sold our house so we could travel around and make it to as many qualifiers, regionals, to Loretta's, other amateur national events, all the things, not only to help the roster of riders that we currently have, but to find new ones that we can help and kind of spread the word about what we're doing. So it's been a busy few years.
It sounds like it. And it sounds like this is your passion. So where did the passion for the nutrition piece of this come from? Because I understand the moto world, right? That's my background for 20 years with the school and creating a school so that we could go to these events. But where does that nutrition piece come from?
So it's a very funny story. I got into fitness first, and I was in high school actually, kind of always just a little bit overweight, like not anything serious. But so in my 20s, I got into fitness, cut weight, great, and then started learning about the nutrition side of it and how much that helped. I decided to try keto, which means no carbohydrates. And by the time I got to, all my workouts done during the week, I was riding on the weekend still. There was a day, remember it clear as day, I went to swing my leg over my bike on a Saturday and I hadn't rode before. I was already tired, like extremely fatigued. And I'm like, I haven't rode yet. I shouldn't already be tired. So doing some research and finding out how important carbohydrates are in athletic performance and brain fuel and all of these things kind of sparked my initial interest. And I'm like, man, there's more to it than just following, diets that are trendy or popular for normal people. As an athlete, it's very important to fuel your body appropriately for the sport that you're can't. Keto might work for some people, but it sure did not work for me in that instance because I didn't have the energy I needed to ride. So that blossomed into, oh my gosh, I could help so many people. So here I am.
I love that. So you're a lifelong learner. I know you're 31, but I love the fact that you put that together and then continue to learn about it, right? So even if you're not an athlete, like I'm taking a course right now on health and nutrition because I believe that the body can heal itself and that we have to be our best advocate, right? We have to understand how our body works and it's unique, just like students, right? We believe it on track that every student learns differently. Are you able to apply that with the riders or the athletes that you're working with, that everybody is different and teach them some skills?
Yeah, that's actually what our nutrition coaching is based around, is meeting each person, each rider exactly where they're at. We don't do meal plans. I don't tell people what to eat. I don't believe in that because everyone, just like you said, every person is different. Everyone's tastes are different. What you have available locally to you at a grocery store might be different. So we base all nutrition coaching, fitness programming as well, on the individual, making sure that, again, I call it meeting you where you're at. I'm not going to have you log your food for a week and then overhaul everything and make all of these big changes. For one, it's not going to be sustainable. No one wants to keep doing that. It's not fun. It's not a process that is enjoyable. And having a healthy diet is also about mentally accepting what you're doing and it being long-term sustainable. So yes, absolutely. We cater to everyone, anyone's dietary preferences. I'm also a big advocate for, if you love pizza, we're going to make sure pizza is in there at least once a week. That's important.
I love that I was looking at your Instagram and there was something about pizza and something else. What was it? Pizza and I like that because you if you deprive yourself, of everything, then it becomes, you can really crash and burn and go backwards. So that sounds really excited. Like I'm excited to talk to you about that for myself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it was my husband, by the way. He loves pizza. So when we
Yeah.
got done riding Saturday, there was a pizza truck at the track, and he was like, I gotta try the pizza. So of course it was in our vlog that we were doing, and I had to explain because everyone gives him a hard time. They're like, oh, is that on the diet plan? I'm like, actually it is. It's part of a healthy diet. It's okay. So
It's more about the ingredients, right? I mean, there's lots of different kinds of pizza and all different, you could have a healthy pizza. But yeah, no, that's exciting. How many athletes are you working with now?
we have right between 25 to 30. I have 25 myself, and my husband is currently coaching 4 to 5. I don't know who exactly is on his roster, but 30 right now, roughly.
And is your husband coaching motocross training more so?
Yes, so he does more of the on the bike training. He steps in and helps more of like the pro level athletes on the fitness side of it. He tends to have better communication with them. Not everyone wants to work with a girl rider, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of his is on the bike training focused. He actually might be doing some of that this evening. And we always call ourselves like the rent-a-train. We don't have a track where we're stationed at, but we actually end up with tracks that ask us to come help with a coaching school or a summer camp or
Uh-oh. I cut out for a minute. Can you hear me okay?
I can now.
Okay, yeah, was I frozen?
Yes,
Okay. We're back.
I think we're good now.
Yeah. Well, that's cool that you and your husband can complement and complete the program, right?
Yes, together, exactly. We encompass all of it. That's the idea.
Yeah, that's really great because our son won Loretta's in 2009. He had a long racing career, 15 years, raced until 2020 and now owns a business. But along the way, when he went pro into supercross and outdoors, we had so many trainers, some of the best. But I would say to my husband, why can't we take like a piece of this trainer and a piece of this trainer and a piece of, because nobody had like the whole package. Right. You need the nutrition, you need the fitness, you need the on the bike, and you also need like the mental piece. So, in any of the things that you're doing, this is an out of the box question because I'm an out of the box person. Is there a mental coaching side?
So the mental coaching side of it, it's not like a built-in, like I have a structured curriculum for it. That's more of the communication that I offer. So with all of our athletes, we check in at least monthly to discuss the mental side of it. You know, how are we feeling with progress, performance, progression? Are we still feeling positive about the program? So that's more of the human touch side of it that absolutely we incorporate. And it depends on like which coaching we're doing. Some of it, like our nutrition coaching, we talk about that stuff weekly. With Just Fitness, it's monthly, but yes, that's included as well.
Yeah, I like the check-ins. It's kind of like we have a lot in common and we just met. I love that. We have goal meetings and it's similar. You know, what is working? What can we do better? What are the challenges? How can we restructure? You know, how can we better support you? So I think that's really important. So starting this virtually, which I have not been in a classroom. Let me see. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even tell you. You know, when I got my master's degree, I think in the early 2000s, I was interning in schools, you know, as counseling and in the classroom. I couldn't imagine being in a classroom, honestly. I know it works for some, right? Like we talked earlier, it's not everybody's cut out for every program. But to take this virtually, was it difficult for you or was it an easy thing to plan? Like, did you foresee that it would be as easy as it was, or did you run into challenges?
There's definitely challenges, just like with building and growing any business, but I will say I don't have any in-gym experience. For me, it's just initially been virtually. So there was no transition, luckily. It was just, how do I find people to help? How do I let people know that I'm available to help? And building a brand virtually is definitely a challenge. But there's also challenges with in person. Now, I don't obviously have like the overhead costs of like a gym equipment or rental space or anything like that. So it really frees up what I can do, like to travel around to races. The other thing I think that has been challenging, but in a good way, because we are virtual, we meet riders wherever they're at. Some riders are traveling all the time. Some have access to a gym. Some want to work out at home. So figuring out how to build workout programs that they can get done with whatever equipment or lack thereof that they have, which is a good mental challenge for me. It keeps me on my toes all the time. And I would say that that's been very interesting part of virtual coaching as well as a challenge.
Yeah, I can see that. So if we've got, you know, kids in RVs somewhere and they don't have weights, are we using water jugs? What kind of creative things are we doing?
Exactly. And that's myself too. I had a home gym, but we sold our house in February. Now I'm in a camper and I don't have room for a bench and a pull-up bar. So I've got
Yeah.
resistance bands and I'm redoing my workouts based on that. That's just what you do on the fly.
Absolutely. We were, you know, I go to a gym, I do work out with a trainer, but we were traveling through, you know, a campground and I used the picnic bench to do my push-ups and triceps and all that stuff. So yeah, it's good to learn that. And it's a great skill, you know, if you don't have access to everything to be resourceful. So that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me about injuries. You know, you're working with kids where they are. Um, Motocross is a very dangerous sport, as we know. So, how do you work with, you know, your athletes when they're injured to come back stronger?
So for first of all, I always let anyone that works with us know if something happens, an injury while you're riding, racing, we put everything on pause, like because we have contracts, and I want people to know that, you know, if something happens, like we take a break for a minute, like let's focus on healing. Once we get back from the injury, cleared from the doctor, I'm actually a corrective exercise specialist as well. That means that we work to retrain weak muscles or maybe movement patterns that aren't ideal anymore. Your body's actually very smart. It'll figure out how to do whatever movement you're asking it to do. But if it's not in the ideal pattern, eventually that's going to lead to issues in other areas of your body. For example, let's say you sprain an ankle and you just keep walking on it, but you're limping on it. You never do anything about it. That's eventually going to lead to knee pain because you're going up your kinetic chain and then up to your hip pain, all the way up until you're having issues in your back and your neck because you're walking sideways. So even something less than a sprain, if you just have stiffness in an ankle from an old injury that you never fix, it's going to do the same thing. So whether it's working through prior injuries, I've worked with athletes that have injuries from 10 years ago that they're like, it still bothers me, or fresh injuries. We're just coming back from surgery. I actually have a couple of athletes that we're working through that stuff right now, just mobility, range of motion, very gently easing back into it, and tailoring workouts. Like if we can do lower body just fine, that's great. Upper body, we might need to adjust and keep weight off the wrist or something like that. That is part of the programming as well, and part of the customization. That's what kind of sets us apart, is making sure that, again, we're meeting everyone exactly where they're at in their needs.
That's great because, there oftentimes, if there's racers and they're working with a trainer, they're just on pause,
Mhm. Yeah,
right? And
that
then that's where the mental challenges come into play because identity is so tied into what they're doing on the track that if there isn't something that they can do in between, it can be difficult.
Yeah, and they do. Most racers like to feel like they're at least still making progress, or at least still keeping up with something. If the only thing we can do is cardio, at least we know our cardio is going to be, top notch by the time we get back. But yeah, anything that we can do to help, we try to tailor as much as we can to fit each athlete's needs.
I love that. I think what you're doing is really outstanding, very exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It is. And like I said, building a brand or building a business from the ground up and being all virtual, it has its challenges. Being local to Ohio, that's kind of where we started finding people the most. They knew who myself and my husband were just from racing. But even now, reaching people, we have an athlete in Australia.
Oh,
So reaching people overseas, it's exciting when we do find new people that are like, oh, I just found you on, social media or whatever it is, and we're able to help them. So it's been very fulfilling.
that's the beauty of virtual, right? I
Mhm.
mean, with what you're doing, and you've only been doing this for 2 years, and you already have 25, 30, you're going to grow and you're going to have students or athletes in multiple countries before you know it. It's awesome. And
Yeah.
we're talking you at the very beginning. So I'm excited to watch where you grow, and where you go. Let's say a family comes to you and they are looking for maybe a quick fix. And I know you like to establish long-term habits. Where do you start? Because it could be overwhelming, right? I always look at something when students are overwhelmed, or maybe it's a friend or a family member, to just kind of chunk it, right? Chip away at it. Because if we give too much information, it becomes overwhelming. So how do you start to build these long-term habits with some of your new families?
So initially, the biggest piece with honestly like our programming is just learning how our systems work, and I lay that all out. It's initially email communication, super simple, but I put that in the very first email. It's not about doing everything perfect at first. It's about learning the systems and how everything works and how we can best communicate with each other. So to make it simple on the nutrition side, I have people just start logging their food. The first 1 to 2 weeks is just get used to logging your food in an app. It's going to be weird. You're going to be on your phone when you're eating, trying to put food in there. Just log it. Don't change anything. Don't try to impress me with what you think you should be eating. Just eat normal food and log it. And then on the workout side of it, just asking what is realistic for your schedule. We have pro athletes, pro supercross racers that don't work. Their schedule is working out and riding. And we also have athletes who work, maybe 8 12-hour shifts and then have 3 days off. And we have to schedule around that. So letting people know also that if something's not working, if you're finding you can't fit it in your schedule, tell me and we change it. It's not like you're failing. It's not like, you need to change you to get it done. We need to change the program to make it fit you. That way it's sustainable. So that's been, I think, one of the best things for people. They're like, okay, I can make this work. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a similar philosophy with what we do as well. That's really cool. Um, do you have different programs? I know you personalize, but somebody wants to come in just for the nutrition piece, can they do that? Or do they have to do the nutrition and the fitness together? Because, I think I already know how I would want to do it, right? They have to go together, but I'm just trying to get an idea how you work with athletes.
Yeah, so we have two options. You can do workouts only. Obviously, that's a lower price point. There's less touches for me. There's less communication back and forth. And then, of course, our athletes always have, if they need something, you can message me, but that's like a monthly check-in. How's everything going? And then we have our nutrition coaching that includes workouts. Now, I don't separate out nutrition because if we're doing nutrition coaching, I also need to see what workouts we're doing so that we can make sure nutrition matches the work we're putting in versus someone being like, well, I do this other workout program, but I want to use your nutrition. You can do that, but through us, you're already like we provide the workouts as well as the nutrition so that they go together. So you can either do just workouts or you can do workouts and nutrition, but I do not separate nutrition out on its own because I don't believe that leads to the best results.
Right. I understand that. It goes together, right? I mean, nutrition and fitness do really go together. Um, do you work with, I would think some of the parents would get really excited. Do some of the parents join when their riders join? I don't know like the average age of of your community, but do the parents get involved, want to work out, and eat good too?
Yes, actually, yeah, especially with the younger riders, I let the parents know ahead of time that, this is going to take some assistance from you. I want to make sure that you're watching your kid work out, that they have proper form, they're not rushing through reps and stuff, especially right at first. And then like the nutrition side of it, here's the guides, but you're also the parent. You need to be learning how to do this as well, because a lot of the times you're cooking or providing food for your child. So it's as much a learning experience for the parent as it is for the kid, especially on the nutrition side. And then the workouts, a lot of times, yeah, I'll see like the parents say, like, yeah, I'm doing them with them to make sure he's getting them done. And it's been really good for me too. So most of the times, yes, if the child, I would say honestly, if they're under about 14 years of age, it's very much a family event, everything that they're doing together, the parents learning. And that's honestly how I want it to be. If a family is paying for coaching for their rider, I want the whole family to benefit from it. Like you all can learn from our nutrition strategies. So it's not just, there's some things that are tailored, like a race day, um, you know, guide for nutrition. Like, okay, well, mom doesn't need to eat the way that rider does because he's racing and mom's not, but everything else is absolutely applicable across the board.
Well, that's cool because, everybody should be eating healthy, right? And it makes it really difficult if you're making two different menus, or it makes it difficult on the rider if the rest of the family's not eating healthy, right? So good for you. I love that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, and that's our thought process too. If everyone can kind of be just a little bit healthier, it's a little bit easier for everyone to eat that way, and then it impacts more people, and we're helping more people.
absolutely. What about like commitment? So, with our school and kind of comparing what we both do, it's kind of similar. We have to juggle school and we also have to juggle training and traveling and riding. What kinds of, issues do you run into with commitment as far as, committing to the program and balancing out the rest of their training?
I would say, especially for the younger riders, it's more of a learning to have the discipline to understand why workouts are important and getting them done. And then on the nutrition standpoint, I've worked with younger riders who totally get it, all in, ready to listen to everything I say, and then riders who you're kind of like constantly reminding them, and that's okay. Like just adjusting my coaching style based on the person that I'm working with, because there's definitely a wide range of people who really want to do it, and maybe mom and dad thinks their rider should be doing it. So I'm trying to actually teach the rider, like, okay, well, I know mom and dad said do this, but this is actually why. Like, what are your goals? What are we focused on? If you want to actually achieve that, we need to be doing this. And it kind of like you can see it get through to them. Eventually, it takes some time that, okay, we do really need to work on this.
The why is always important, right? We talk about the why a lot with decisions that we make at our school. I think that's really important. Where do you see Shred MX in the next 3, 5, 10 years?
So we're actually in the process of building out quite a few different things. So not only will we have nutrition and fitness coaching, we're going to have on the bike drills, on the bike coaching, things like that. That's already in process now. We're also working on a website where people can pay a subscription monthly and have access to a full video library, whether it's they're looking for cornering drills, they're looking for a quick hit workout, they're looking for exercises they can do because their knee is sore, or a stretch that they can do after they rode. So a video library where they can search. We really want to build Shred-MX Conditioning to be the place where anything that you need in moto that you need to learn about or want to learn about, or if you're new to the sport, you can come to our hub and it's there and find it, whether it's information provided by us or links to companies that we can get you in touch with for like safety gear and things like that. We really intend to be the hub for all things moto. Again, with the expectation that we won't be the coach and the trainer for everyone, but maybe we'll have some type of information or article that would suit anyone's needs. So it would be available.
Oh, that's exciting. I love the idea of a virtual library where you can go in and check things out like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, we actually have students, and this will be on our YouTube channel, that race NASCAR, equestrian, barrel racers. Obviously, we started out in moto because that's what our son did, and we were familiar with, and were invited to be a part of Loretta's every year so to support educations. But now at this point, we have over 500 students in many different disciplines that they're involved in, including fishing, believe it or not. So if there were an on track, family that was interested in a fitness plan, nutrition plan, do they have to be a motocrosser?
They do not. So I've actually helped people that I've worked with on the corporate side of it. So we have other clients as well. Our marketing is based around moto because that's what we do. That's what we know. And that's the industry that we're focused in, but absolutely not. Like if there's a gymnast or a barrel racer that wanted, coaching, we coach athletes with the information we have is for athletic performance. So I might ask a few extra questions to understand how your sport works, even just from motocross to woods racing. We tailor that because that's such a different side of it with racing, 2 to 3 hours at a time. So it's really just a learning process, and honestly exciting and fun for me to learn about different sports, and it's a challenge to tailor my coaching to meet that sport's needs. So absolutely, we'd be happy to help anyone.
Yeah, that's exciting because we have gymnasts and we have, like I said, horse, equestrian, but for us, getting used to the other sports is interesting too, but education is easy because you could just take it with you, but understanding the different sports and, nutrition plans is exciting. So yeah, because they'll be listening and we've been asked before. We do have a sports PE class, but it's really nice to have something personalized. So that's great. What advice do you have for parents of student writers on how they can best support? And we touched on this a little bit, but how they can best support, the goals without adding pressure, right? That's a big thing that we see is a lot of pressure in this sport because of the sacrifices that we make and the things that we give up to travel and go to these events. So, do you have advice for parents that you give them when
Yeah,
they
especially with the younger riders, I always recommend, and we have a lot of inquiries for younger riders. I always recommend make sure your child is the one that wants this and not you wanting it for them. It's an investment you're making, but I personally don't want someone investing in our services if the kid's not going to do the work because they're just not interested. And then at that point in time, if they're like, yeah, maybe we're not ready for it yet, I provide any of the free guides that I've put together. Like I'll give as much information as I can to help them kind of get started and kickstart their journey without an official coaching program. Like I'm all about helping as many people as we can, but that would be my biggest piece of advice. I was lucky to be raised in a family that, like I said, it wasn't taken seriously, and I could chase whatever goals I wanted to. My husband, on the other hand, was pushed a little bit hard and had some tough relationships there with his father. Since been mended. He's 36 now, so that's long since gone. But that's the biggest thing I would say, just about whether it's on the bike training, nutrition, fitness coaching, make sure it's your kid is the one that wants this and you understand their goals and are listening to them, and it's not just what you want for them.
I couldn't agree more with you. I think that is really important. What happens though that I see is that a lot of young writers start and it used to be when I started on track school, everybody thought that their kid was going to be the next. We used to say back in the day, Jeremy McGrath, um, and then of course, time goes on but they get into it with the right reasons and it's good training and it's this and that and they're making sure they take care of the education. But man, as soon as it gets serious, it gets real serious, right? So along the way, even though you're giving this advice, do you sometimes see a shift and have to revisit that conversation?
So it broke up a little bit. Repeat that question for me there, please.
So even though you're giving that advice in the beginning and people agree, right, and they have the right intentions, sometimes things change and then racing does get more serious because the results are coming right. All these benefits are paying off. The nutrition plan is working, the fitness plan is working, all the bike maintenance is taken care of, and now they're winning. And now all of a sudden the pressure starts. So do you have to revisit that conversation with parents later?
Always. And I think you can get a good judge from the effort that the athlete is putting in too. So if I feel like maybe there's a disconnect between like the rider and the parent, it's definitely something like, especially with minor riders, if we're having check-in calls, parent is required to be on. Like I want to make sure we're all talking about it on the same page. But you can kind of tell by the effort of the athlete what direction their mind is going. For me, especially because looking at workouts and nutrition and things like that, I can kind of get an idea ahead of time where the coaching is going to go or what direction their career is going before maybe kid and parent actually start talking about it. And sometimes, yes, it's like I have to bring that stuff up like, hey, we might be missing some things, what's going on here and there. And mom or dad might be like, oh, I didn't know we were missing these things. And then that kind of sparks a conversation between them. So, yeah, a little bit of, obviously, I'm a fitness and nutrition coach, but a little bit also of like a trying to help families through some of those things as well.
Yeah, it takes a team. And I think it's wise to have the parents on that call. You need all, we have, an agreement where the parent has to sign, the student has to sign, one of our on-track teachers or learning coaches have to sign, because it does take like a collaborative effort for success, which is what we're all about. So super exciting. I only have one more question before we open it up. So anybody that's part of this meeting, I want you to think about questions that you can either put on the chat or open your mic, because that's our best and favorite part, is to be able to ask questions. Um, is there like one thing, I know there's so many, right? But is there one thing that you see um, a mistake that families make, or maybe a misconception that families make when it comes to nutrition or fitness, that they could start paying attention to if they're not involved in a program?
So the easiest one I can say is buying modifications for the bike, thinking it's going to make the kid faster instead of paying attention to their fitness and nutrition. And you don't have to pay for fitness and nutrition coaching to have them kind of start paying a little bit more attention to that. But it doesn't matter how fast your bike is. If you can't hold on to it for 4 laps, you're going to have a problem. So that would be the biggest mistake I see people make for sure.
Well said. I like that. That's a perfect example, right? We put all this into a bike, but if you don't have your machine, if you don't take care of your own machine, your brain and everything else that's working together, and your muscles and putting the right fuel into your own body, yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that, Ashlee. Appreciate that. So I know we have some ambassadors with us today, and I'm so glad that you guys joined us. I think we learned so much, and I'm excited about anybody that takes the time to learn and grow and bring their passion out into our communities so that we can be better on and off the bike. So let's open it up for questions. You can use the chat if you're not comfortable taking your mic off, and we'll stay a few minutes and see if we can answer those for you.
Hi, Ashley. So I know we've actually met before, and it was really awesome talking to you before. Um, but I had one or actually a couple of questions. Is it one generic program kind of? I know you said that you tender it to different people. depending if they work or if that is their job as an athlete. But do you base it off of one program, say?
No. So I do have like baseline programs, but I literally have 30 different baseline programs that I work from. And we tailor it to off season, preseason, in-season training, whether we're doing other sports or not. And then furthermore, once like I assign it to in my software, you assign it to a rider, then I go in and customize it even further. So while there is a baseline program, I'm choosing from over 30 different programs that I've built myself, and it's all geared around like your riding season, really. And then again, the time you have available, and then further customized to you and your needs and your equipment availability.
That sounds really awesome. My second question was, I don't know if you work with the woods a lot, but would it be different, say, than um, a moto aspect of it?
So I do actually have several woods riders now, ranging from like sprint enduro to like the longer GNCC races. So kind of figuring out how long your races are on a normal basis and what we're training for, that's what's going to change how your workouts and your nutrition is adjusted. So if you have like for most local, we'll say most local motocross races, you're going to be, you know, high intensity for 15 minutes, and then that's pretty much it. You might ride longer than that on a ride day, versus a woods racer who you need to be able to withstand racing for 2 to 3 hours at a time. Our training looks different, not so much like the actual exercises, but the structure of the training, like what days we might do strength versus cardio, how long the cardio is, and things like that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's nice to talk to you again.
Thank you, Ruby. Do you go to the GNCC races too, Ashlee?
Oh no, no, I'm not. I would go to one to watch, but I'm 5'4", almost, and my legs are not built for woods racing, so I have zero intention on racing woods, but I would love to go to one. I've just never been.
It is quite different. The first time I went and I saw that these young riders were going into the woods and not coming out for a really long time, I thought, oh my God, I couldn't watch that. That'd be difficult, let alone race it.
My dad had us do a couple hare scrambles when my sister and I were very young, and it involved a lot of him chasing us around and picking our bikes up and getting us up hills and things like that. So I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have a question for Ashlee? Okay. Well, where can we find you if we want more information about the programs that we off that you offer? Where can we find you?
So Instagram or Facebook is our main place right now. As I mentioned, we're working on building a website, but these things all take time. So mainly in the little bio, there's links, whether it's my personal page or the Shred MX conditioning page. We're pretty easy to find. We post a lot, so chances are you've probably seen some of our content. Just go to the bio, click in the links. There's a landing page where either we do have a newsletter if you just want to sign up for free information. We send that out every Friday. Or you can find the link to our coaching application. We have you apply. We collect up some details up front. It kind of explains the pricing structure, tells me what you're interested in. That way I have a base idea of whether or not we can help the rider before we even get on a phone call. And then we do, a phone call and everything and chat about it, make sure everything's understood on both sides, that we can help, and we go from there. But primarily at the moment, Instagram.
Excellent. So is it at Shred MX Conditioning?
It's shred_MX conditioning.
All right, I'm just going to put it Shred_MX Conditioning.
Yes.
All right, guys, I'm just going to put it in the chat. Well, listen, social media is a great way to promote your business. So, and I was enjoying really looking at it and knowing that it's okay to have pizza once a week. I'm Italian. How could I not?
Yeah, and pasta too. Now I will say, find the good ingredient pasta, but pasta's fine too.
Yes, my husband is actually becoming the ingredient Nazi in our house and watching all about the seed oils. I'm Italian, but I do know that the pasta that I buy has to come from Italy, right?
One
Has
ingredient.
right, semolina,
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm on the right track then.
That's it. That's the same pasta I buy. Yep. As if I don't want any other ingredients. I don't want preservatives. I don't want stuff that I don't know what it is in my pasta, but I will eat pasta.
Same with bread. So
Yes.
we found an Italian bakery that makes bread. I don't eat a lot of bread anyway, but you know what? There are times where you just got to have a nice sourdough piece of toast, right? So now I'm actually getting sourdough with, I think it might have two ingredients. I don't know, three, and we bake it.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah. That's what I have in my cupboard, sourdough, and you get the take and bake one even, and yeah, limited ingredients. And that's the biggest piece to pay attention to is your ingredients, and the rest evens itself out.
Yeah, I love it. You're doing really wonderful things, Ashlee. Thank you for being patient with us to get you on our schedule. I believe all things happen at the right time. And I think, our ambassadors that joined us, our team that joined us, and our students that watch this later, are going to learn a lot from you. And hopefully some of them will contact you. Who knows? I might even, have to get in touch with you and see what it looks like on a personal level. So if there are not any other further questions, Ashlee, do you have any other comments or questions for us?
The only comment I wanted to make is even if someone's not, interested in coaching in an official capacity yet, I am more than happy to answer questions and provide as much information as I can. Obviously, there's other things that come with coaching that you can't get for free, but as much free information and education as I can provide to help people, I am about it. So please, if you have something, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm a very nice person. I'll respond personally, and we'll get your questions answered.
I love it. And Ashlee, what is your email address?
Email is shredmxconditioning@gmail.com. That one's easy.
I love it. There you go. Shredmxconditioning@gmail.com, right?
Yes, yes. And I will say our website is going to be, once we get there, it's not going to include conditioning because people misspell conditioning all the time. So
I know,
hoping
I'm
to,
double checking.
it's such a long word. It's just a long word. So I'm like, if we could just do like shredmx.com, that's kind of the goal. So hopefully,
Yeah.
in the next couple of months we'll have that, but work in progress.
Absolutely. Well, it'll be great to look out for that. And thank you again. It's really nice to meet you. It's very refreshing. I love your approach.
Well, thank you. And I was happy to be on. Thank you for bringing me on and letting me chat a little bit with you all. It's been great.
Absolutely. Hope to see you soon. Take care. And thank you, everybody who joined us. And for those who are listening later, thanks for joining in.